So, wow, thank you guys for all being here. As I don't know how many of you know about why Serenity is here. But Rich Mascaro is going to come up and read a letter because I can't. And Rich, if you can't, you just pass it on down, man. Just keep it rolling. We'll see who can do it. Come on, bring it. So I'll just set this up. I received a letter from Miranda Dadone, and this is what it says.
Dear Dublin Rotary Club, my name is Miranda Dadone. I serve as the American Sign Language interpreter for the deaf, hard of hearing students in the Lawrence County school system. My precious student Serenity is deaf and her first language is ASL. Thankfully, with her sharp mind, bubbly outgoing personality, and the use of an interpreter, there are few communication gaps. However, without the ability to hear, her incidental learning has taken a hit. As a result, there are students she has been in class with, seen in the halls, and played with on the playground since kindergarten whose names she did not know. That all changed with a simple gift. The dictionaries donated by the Dublin Rotary Club to the third grade students across our county made an extra special impact this year. In the back of the dictionaries, there is a simple page that has the American Sign Language alphabet. The students at East Lawrence Elementary sat huddled in groups poring over that page, learning how to spell their names and sign so they could introduce themselves to their friend for the first time without the use of an interpreter. She was able to put names with faces of the people she had called friends for years. The absolute joy and excitement she had watching her classmates practicing their names or modeling to them how to sign words was completely indescribable. She was proud of who she is and proud of her means of communication. The bond of the students in the third grade has always been special, but your gift this year has strengthened that bond and has made a lasting impact. As a school mama to this precious girl, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You will never know how you made this little girl's world look so much bigger. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sincerely, an extremely grateful ASL interpreter, Miranda Dadone.
Thank you. So where's Bubba? Bubba, would you stand up? What a great program that you brought to this club. And you know, here's just an incredible example of how it's impacting kids in this community. So I would also like us to give Bubba a round of applause for that. So so thank you so much, you guys, for being here. We really appreciate that. It's such a special thing, and just wish her the best in her school and life and everything. So, and let us know how we can ever be of help. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to also now read this from the Club of Bogota, Colombia. The club was founded in 1993 and currently has 22 active members in multiple professional backgrounds, professional backgrounds. The main purpose of the club is to contribute to the solution of the most critical needs from the least favored people in Colombia, and to achieve this, it focuses on 4 programs. One is soy processing plants for self-sustaining nutrition, wheelchairs for soldiers wounded in combat, infant development centers, housing and education for orphans who are HIV carriers. We want to present you the club's flagship program, Soy Processing Plants for the Self-Sustaining Nutrition, whose aspiration it is to reduce malnutrition across the most vulnerable regions of the country. In parentheses says the national nutritional average is 13%, malnutrition average is 13%, reaching up to 34% in most critical regions. As of today, the program provides a meal a day to 45,000 beneficiaries, and the club's goal is to double this number in the next 5 years. Through our presentation, we want to create awareness of the nutritional needs in Columbia and motivate you to support our program. So I'm going to meet with him afterward, and we're going to talk a lot about the the possibilities of of working alongside them. So thank you for being here. We appreciate that. Also, we had our very first super raffle winner yesterday. Link Jones sold that ticket to Judy Stewart. Judy Stewart. She recently retired from the Farmers State Bank and lives here in Dublin, so she was thrilled. She said that they're ready to buy more tickets. So you'll see that come out in the paper on Tuesday, so watch for that. I'll give a few other announcements about the super raffle later, but excited to have our very first winner. I don't know if you know this, but for the first time in 28 years, we have 53 Thursdays in the year. So we didn't really, I don't know how we stumbled on that information, but we had to decide if we wanted to skip, the beginning of the year or the end of the year, and so give us a little bit more time to organize this. We skipped January 2nd, and so yesterday was our very first one. So thank you for everybody for your support on that.
Start the new year with a new ride from Dublin Nissan.
This week at Dublin Nissan, drive this Altima for $27,050.
New or pre-owned with great financing options.
Save up to $5,600 off MSRP on this Frontier.
Choose from hundreds of well-equipped cars, trucks, or SUVs.
Save up to $12,000 off MSRP on this Titan.
We make it fast, fun, and friendly. Call, click, or come see us.
Dublin Nissan, the only dealer you will ever need.
With Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance, I can get auto, home, life, even banking all in one place. Pretty convenient if you ask me.
Always the home team, Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Visit us online at gfbinsurance.com.
I'm now going to call on Will Curry to introduce our speaker in our program.
Before I introduce our speaker, I want to go ahead and go on the record here. This is one of my biggest gets. I've been trying to get him for about a year and a half now. I heard that he spoke to another civic club. The program went outstanding, so I've been trying to get him back to the Rotary Club ever since. Justin Herbert is with us today with Southern Way Retrievers. And the topic that he's going to be covering today is training the proper gun dog the Southern Way. A couple of things to note about this, and he's going to go into more detail, but there's two major categories of training, getting accreditation for your gun dog. One is AKC Master National, and one is HRC International, and his stats are unbelievable. So for the 2019 AKC Master National, there were almost 1,100 dogs in competition, with a field pass rate of 41% of the dogs passing. Justin and his group, they passed 83% of the dogs they submitted. For the 2019 HRC Fall Grand National, it was 600 dogs in competition with a field average pass rate of 23%, and he passed 53%. Obviously, he knows a little bit about what he's doing. Probably after his program, you're going to be asking about if he can train your wife, husband, or kid. I don't think he does that. But without further ado, I'd like to call up Justin Herbert.
Again, thank you to the Rotary Club for having me. A little bit, if I can remember how to flip this thing, a little bit about me. That way. Okay, there we go. I was born in Albany, Georgia. Graduated from Valdosta State in 2011 with a communications degree. After that, I joined the United States Coast Guard. I was in the Coast Guard for 5 years and was stationed in Kodiak, Alaska for 2. And then from there I went down to Houma, Louisiana. So I tell everybody we went from deadliest catch to swamp people, and it was a good time. I really liked the Cajuns down there. I started Southern Way as a part-time deal in 2014 while I was still in the service. My first dog, Sadie, was a yellow female, and I got involved down there with a local retriever club, Pontchartrain Hunting Retriever Club, and really kind of fell in love with the sport. I'd initially gotten into dogs, I'll back up a little bit, while I was in college. I did bird dogs there, and then I got back into it while I was in Louisiana in the retrievers and started competing, which later on led to Southern Way and becoming full-time. Like I said, we in May of 2016 we started full-time. as a kennel operation. My wife is from Dublin, so we, when I got out of the Coast Guard in 2016, we stayed there a year, and I was building the business, and we moved back here in 2017, so glad to be here. And then also, I want to, and Will kind of touched on it, and I appreciate that. One of the cool things, we had a really good year this year, and I know a lot of the trials and the stuff are probably foreign language to a lot of people. But something, you know, I'm really proud of is our performance this year at the national events, because that's where you really see the dogs. I mean, these are the best dogs in the country. It's by invitation only. So, you know, for us to basically double the average pass rate in both those national events, the Master National, which was in Shiraz, South Carolina, and then the Grand, which was in Wisconsin, I was very proud of, and it kind of makes all the hard work worth it. So, a little bit about what we do at Southern Way, what we offer. We do, even just for Fluffy Dog, we do obedience. We have an obedience program. You know, and pretty much your product of that would be a good citizen, is what I say. And we do a 2-month minimum there. You know, it really takes about 6 to 8 weeks to fully complete an obedience program. And like I said, we do the AKC, UKC hunt test, and I'll go into a little bit about that. We compete in AKC field trials, and we also now offer boarding services. So what is a retriever hunt test? Has anybody ever heard of a hunt test? We did, yeah. There's a club here in Dublin, Middle Georgia Retriever Club. And I'll plug them right now, and Lane's going to speak a little bit more about them. If you love dogs, if you love to hunt, you know, come on out. It's spectator sport, family event. They hold 2 events in the spring and fall. But, you know, a hunt test is basically designed to test the natural ability and training of gun dogs. The difference in a test versus a trial, a test is basically dogs are against a written standard. So there's a panel of judges, and it's not every dog against each other, more or less. It's a dog is against a written standard as a pass or fail. The 2 main tiers of the hunt test are the AKC, the American Kennel Club, and the UKC, the United Kennel Club. And then I'll start with AKC first. And the purpose and I'll give you a little background actually. The first AKC hunt test was held in 1985 with 13 events and roughly 600 entries across the country. In 2005, there was 350 events with just under 35,000 entries. And then the AKC Master National, which is the Super Bowl of the sport that we just ran, there was 1,000 dogs from all across the country. So it's grown significantly over the years. And then they do live flyers, live birds. You know, it's really designed to be a hunting scenario to test these animals and not only their training, but, you know, their skill sets. So now we're going to talk about the UKC hunting test, and their philosophy is very similar. It's to test the dog in hunting scenarios to evaluate them as useful companions. They were conceived in Louisiana by a guy named Omar Driscoll. They've been around since the 80s as well, but it originated in North Louisiana and kind of where I cut my teeth in running these things. But their motto is conceived by hunters for hunters. So it's very realistic to a hunting scenario when these dogs are running these events. And like I said, there's a chapter of this, of the UKC club here, and Lane Blanchett's the president here. He's going to plug them in a little bit, but I really encourage you guys, if it's something you're interested in, to come out and watch the dogs. You'll have an appreciation for all the levels, from the beginners to the pros and the advanced. It's a really good deal that they put on, and the club is thriving, has grown significantly. So,
imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
Now, the abilities of a retriever, and see, and I know a lot of this is probably foreign language to some of y'all, and so I'm trying to explain it to a lot of the terms like marking. You know, what is a dog that can mark? What does that mean? You know, a retriever that we work with. So, you know, I've got dogs that can see a bird fall at 400 yards and pinpoint it on a blade of grass. That they're that talented. And I've got some that, you know, they see a bird at 100 yards and they kind of run all over, and they may work it out, but, you know, they can't mark as strong as others. And then the other aspect of this is memory. We have, you know, we'll throw a sequence of birds for test, and these dogs are, you know, we'll throw 3 or 4, and they'll have to remember the locations. They'll watch them out in the field and remember all the locations. So it's pretty incredible, you know, the dogs and what they're able to do. A lot of times, if I miss something, they catch me, or if they miss something, I catch them. You know, it's a team sport when you walk up to the line and you're under judgment. The other category is perseverance in hunting, and you know, talking about that. You know, that dog is going out. You know, they're working. They're proceeding to a bird, and you know, they start hunting, and maybe they get lost, but they're going to stay in there and work it out because you know they're going to persevere. And then trainability, and that's something as a trainer, you know, each dog's different. They're different in you know, some are headstrong, or some are very very compliant, or some are soft, some are, you know, it just the range is huge, and so trainability is a huge aspect of this. And then the subcategories of that would be steadiness, control, response, and delivery. So let's talk about obedience now, and I'm going to grab Max. Here, Max. So one of the first things we start with is lead control. Who all has a dog that instead of walking the dog walks you? Right? That's a huge thing. You know, that's one of the first things we start on. Is just teaching the dog to follow my lead. You know, dogs are pack animals. They need a leader, and we'll touch on that in a minute on some ways to accomplish that. But here, you want to say hey? But lead control is where we start, and then one of the most fundamental commands is sit. Sit. The sit command. We use sit interchangeably as sit and stay. So I don't tell the dog to stay. When I tell them sit, it means sit until basically they're told to do otherwise. The way that I release them is with a release command. Okay, here, Max. He wants a bumper. Hey, here, sit. Come here. Sit. So sit means sit. He really wants his bumper. Okay. Sit. So sit means sit until told to do otherwise. And then we also go through different commands to whether I'm moving forward with the dog, which would be here. Come here. See how he came with me there? Sit. Here. Sit. So here is to pull him forward, and the other is heel to pull him back. Heel. Come back here. Sit. Good. Okay. Heel. And that's here. You got chicken over there? Here. Sit. That's one of the biggest things about, you know, training and my philosophy. You know, there are times when correction is needed, but there are also times, and equally as important, is to praise. Praise them when they're doing well. Just something to keep in mind. And we also have the same two commands: heel, if he's in front of me, so that means to swing around in his spot there. Sit. Good. Heel. Sit. And then a lot of people use come, sit. I use here, sit. So if he's out there and I just want to recall him, here. Heel. Here. Sit. And it'd probably work a lot better if I kept this in my hand. Come here. Here. Sit. You can just see his desire. He just loves it. So that's basically just to give you an idea on some of the obedience commands. And yes, you may see his white chest. He is purebred. That is a trait that some of them do have. But okay. All right, good dog. Thank you. All right, let's see. Alex, I'll let you take him. Another hot topic in gun dog training is force fetch. Has y'all heard of that? Anybody heard of that before? You have a dog, and when my dog retrieves, why do I need to force fetch him? He retrieves already. And force fetch is exactly what it says. It's force, is applied with the command to fetch. And this is actually, the end result. Let me grab Max again for this one. But the end result in force fetch is a dog that will, here, set, 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 fetch. Fetch on command, here. Hold on command like he's holding, here. Sit. And then I use drop, but release. Go ahead. Fetch. Drop. See how I spit it out? So that is the end result of force fetch. Those three commands, and here. And what that does is that ensures here proper delivery of birds. I don't want them chewing or crunching, or I want them when they go out and bring a bird back. I don't want them to eat it. I want to eat it, right? Fit for the table is really the standard there. So that is the main end result of force fetch. But this is the important thing. Force fetch is so much more than that. Because for a young dog, this is the first time where they learn to comply under pressure. We use a little discomfort on the ear, but that's, you give a command with some discomfort, and when they comply, it's released. And that in itself changes things for a dog. That's the point to where, like I talked about the pack animal, the leader, and the follower, there's lots of other points in advanced training where the dog's going to need correction, and they know how to respond properly to that and do what they're supposed to. What it boils down to is trust and control. I want to give you an example here about trust and control, and some of this may be foreign, but I'm going to try and kind of break it down. So, for him, for example, I send him in a pond and he's swimming down the shore. We teach these dogs to stay in the water. That always is a lifelong lesson for them, to stay in the water and not cheat and get out and run around, because we want them to go straight. And so he's swimming down the shore, and there's a huge wind, and it's just blowing right in his face as he's swimming down the shore. And there's bird scent that he's swimming. He smells that bird. He knows it's up there, and he's reasoning, well, all my training I've been told to stay in the water. I need to stay in the water because that's what a good dog does. And, well, finally he just said, I can't take it anymore, and he gets out. And he gets up on the bank, and I stop him right there on the edge of the water. And he looks at me, and he's got a decision to make. Is he going to trust his nose, or is he going to get back in the water like I told him to do? And so what that boils down to is, like I talked about earlier, trust and control. To have that level of control and to have that level of trust it all comes together, and it all starts right there in force fetch. Believe it or not, all the hand signals, teaching these dogs at 300 yards to stop on a whistle and to give them a direction and all that, it all starts right there with the fetch command. It's kind of hard to imagine, but that's one of the most pivotal moments in a young retriever's life, and I just kind of want to touch on that. So. One more topic I want to hit on, and that's collar conditioning. We use the e-collar in our program. It provides prompt and swift commands. And so once we go through all of the commands here on lead, and we go back through off lead, and with each command we pair it with correction from the e-collar. So it's commands that they already know, but we add the correction on the e-collar to get a prompt and reliable response to it. And one of the biggest things is timing there. Timing is key. And then they also, for them to have a stable reaction is just as important for the rest of training. So pretty much with these three fundamental parts of training, you can build a solid gun dog: obedience, collar conditioning, and force fetch, like I talked about. And I want to turn it over to Lane and let him talk a little bit about the Middle Georgia Hunting Retriever Club and what they have to offer. And if any of you guys want to head outside after, we'll be glad to do a demonstration. So.
Appreciate you letting us be here, and I'll be really quick. We're the Middle Georgia Hunting Retriever Club. We're a local chapter of the UKC organization that Justin mentioned. We do monthly training days with our club, so people have other people to train with and get some help. But we put on 2 events per year. We do one in the spring and one in the fall. Just had one in November. We'll have another one in March. And it'll be out here on some properties very close to between here and the river. If you're interested in coming to watch, you're welcome to. We have a Facebook page that you can follow us and see what's going on. But it's the Middle Georgia Hunting Retriever Club. And if you're interested, we'll be glad to stick around afterwards and answer some questions. Or if you'd like to come out and watch, we'd love to have you. Okay? Thank you.